Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending where you are. Welcome to another episode 216 with Crypto Talks. It's a pleasure to have this new year, seeing all of this bull run happening, and people are back to some sort of, kind of action where they want to be part of this. I hope this time be part for the good, not for the bad, not for the spams or the scams or the fraud part. We're seeing today close to 60,000. So this is a great initiative. If I'm not mistaken, it already touched the 60,000. And let's see. Let's welcome Tay before we go and do the introductions, and we'll take it up from there. Welcome, Tay. How have you been?
Good afternoon, Rudy. Good afternoon, everyone watching Crypto Talks. It's a very exciting week as Bitcoin is breaking the $60,000 level, approaching to the previous all-time high, 69,000. It was in November 2021. This is the moment, I think, when many of us will now unblock some of their family members, some of their friends, so that we can tell them, hey, it's back to the all-time high. So if anyone has bought at the all-time high, they're almost approaching to recoup their investments back. Many friends called me today who I haven't spoken in with years, and it's good to see everyone's happy and everyone's confident. Um, we will talk a little bit on the numbers perspective, and as usual, we have picked some important news that we will cover this week.
I think this week's news is kind of a big update or to what's happening in this space. So let's take it on as usual. Uh, Again, this is season 9 kicked off as the beginning of this year. Episode 216. As you know, we launched our latest episode with Dr. Lina Waidet. She is still heading the cybersecurity initiatives. So yeah, and again, just a small update about crypto frauds. We're seeing more and more advancements in the fraud space. Was it from deep fakes or imitating people or imitating voices? I just knew somebody who had called me that his wallet was drained using different types of multi-factor authentication, and we discovered something that maybe you have two or three multi-factor authentication, but when you request a password reset, you're only stuck with one. So if they have your email, somehow they will still be able to get access to your wallet. So be careful. How do you deal with that, and how do you grow, or how do you protect yourself? So this is something very interesting um, to watch. And we've seen last week the hype of Sigma, AIBC. We were nominated for an award as best media company in Dxtalks, so we were happy to be part of the ceremony. So that was very good. And we watched also Step talking about the latest innovation in AI. Today we're living, I think, two uh, not just trends, but two high end moments, I would say, the rise of AI and the rise of the world of blockchain. So, one final world will be fine tuning and finishing the women in AI, blockchain, and fintech. So, that's it. We're closing it very soon. So, if you still have few moments to nominate, and with that, we'll be announcing all of the news in April. With that, I'll give it back to you, Tay, so that you can lead.
Good afternoon, Rudy, again. Good afternoon, everyone watching Crypto Talks. This is week 9, 2024. A mix of emotions is happening. A lot of people are happy that Bitcoin has breached the $60,000 levels. In a quick recap of events, in the beginning of the year, the ETF was approved, and now we are able to see Bitcoin spot ETFs traded in the United States. So, what this means is investors are able to have exposure to Bitcoin or benefit from the scarcity fact of Bitcoin, benefit from the volatility as well through those dedicated funds which will own the crypto on behalf of the investors. Since they're regulated, this means that investors will have more confidence in perhaps buying Bitcoin. Maybe they believe in it, but they wanted this regulatory event to happen in order to step in. And perhaps this is what is being translated now. Is it true? Is this the fact that because of uh, Bitcoin spot ETFs and because we have an approval coming up and we're seeing BlackRock, we will say how much they bought Bitcoin or how much the capital inflow was into their ETF fund towards the end of this session. Let's start as usual with some Glassnode notes. Um, One of the interesting things were that, and this is perhaps an answer to the previous question, Rudy. Um, if we look at the spot market, the trading volume is merely 7%. So the rest is driven by derivatives. And in derivatives, as we know, the risk exposure is higher and the volatility tends to be much higher. So market makers and exchanges as well will, or let's say, is playing a role now into this rally that we're seeing. Although the exchange inflow volumes, they're nearly at the all-time high, yet this is a sign for short-term trading and short-term speculation. Um, as we saw with the ETFs, the second major news coming this year that will have an impact on the price is the halving event. My own analysis is traders are using the FOMO of halving to grow the derivatives market and hence increase this price gap and let people buy in the trap of Bitcoin reaching 100K, and perhaps they are able to bring it up to those levels. But the institutional money today uh, is not there to push Bitcoin to the 100 and 200 and 300,000 levels in a couple of weeks or at least a couple of months, perhaps. And as we as well saw today from Bitcoin Magazine tweeted something interesting that the Bitcoin purchased by ETFs were yesterday 9,163 Bitcoin, while the new Bitcoin produced by miners are merely 900. And remember, we're still not at the halving yet. So, what if the second narrative that is coming to play, where the spot ETF funds are going to eat up most of the Bitcoins in the market with a halving supply shortage that is driving the supply by 50% down, what impact will have on the price. So whether it's the derivatives market or whether it is really a institutional buy-in into spot Bitcoin ETFs, and there is another crypto that will have its spot ETF approved. We're gonna mention the name in the news that we picked for this week. So, regardless of the scenario, derivatives or ETFs, the price of Bitcoin ultimately will cross new highs because of the basic formula of supply, demand, and price variations. With this, Rudy, we can begin the news of this week, and we go back to you. As we mentioned, CNBC today is covering Bitcoin crossing 60,000. Let me check the price as we speak now, 61,792. From last week until this week, it improved by 20%, 19.8% to be exact. Many people now are trying to speculate on what is the ceiling, where will it stop, 160, 70. One interesting point of view that I saw on Twitter as well today is the what the dollar can purchase today and what the dollar can purchase last year is not the same due to inflation. So the top of 69K that we looked at in 2021 compared to the real value in 2024, it should be around 79,000. So traders looking at 80 to 100K levels, perhaps before the halving. This is what the sentiment in the market is, that before halving, we're going to reach 100K. And from there, perhaps a correction could happen, 30, 40% correction, where then the institutions will be dumping their coins back in the market until the market finds a new narrative uh, that will build up the momentum once again. And it's not only Bitcoin. Ether might be the next institutional darling, as Bernstein was saying to CoinDesk. And in the second largest cryptocurrency, which is mainly the Ethereum protocol and its token Ether, or where it might get the approval of a spot ETF fund as well. Now, this is where, again, the speculation is driving uh, a rejection of Ethereum spot ETFs. And if this happens, this is the catalyst for Ether to go back in its normal or between the resistance trading levels. Why is that important? Because again, we need to build the sentiment with the news that is coming up. And the sentiment today is a rejection on spot ETFs for Ethereum. Uh, but there is a upgrade for the Ethereum network that is coming. And if this goes successful, which is scheduled for March, if it goes successful, then we are going to see as well an improvement in the price. With the third news and the I think we missed one of the important pieces as well for this week, Rudy, which is the Binance fine. But I wanted to keep that till the end because there is as well some rumors and speculation around it. We talked in the introduction about the volumes that is going into spot ETFs. BlackRock, the Bitcoin ETF, has hit another 1.3 billion in volume for the second consecutive day. This what fueled the market. Plus that MicroStrategy has purchased another bunch of Bitcoin. I think the value was $155 million at an average price of $51,000. So those two events were the catalyst for this week's trade. And this sailor effect on Bitcoin has been always there in the previous trends. Anytime that Michael Saylor is announcing the purchase uh, of Bitcoin, or anytime that you're able to spot it on chain, then yeah, you're able to basically trade this piece of news. We kept the best for the last. I think this is a very healthy sign in the crypto exchanges market. It's a sign that they will uh, outlive and outperform perhaps even traditional institutions like banks. Binance has agreed to pay the fine as we agree, and the fine is $4.3 billion. This is a very large, hefty fine for a crypto platform. Uh, Binance is able to pay it. Great news. The speculation is that the United States wants to confiscate all the passports of CZ so that he will not be able to travel until May. Although he, tried to show some good faith that he came voluntarily to the court in the U.S. So he asked, because he has family members dependent on him, and he tried to ask for a plea to leave the states and come back for the hearing. This was rejected. um, it's a big amount, but I think this is a sign, like, that the crypto exchanges are under heavy regulation, and at the same time, the you know the continuity of the business is clear from a regulatory perspective. This was the major news, Rudy, for this week. So let's get back to you.
Yeah, I think interesting news this week how it folded, and um, the fine is big. So let's see how this will turn out, because it's good that they made it, somehow part of a fine, not a seizure of the company or full control of the company. So this is kind of good to it shows some sort of good initiatives, so that we don't crash the market or we don't hurt the market. And this is where Lama has asked, uh, what is the risk of dropping to 40 or 30K now? We've seen it, but what's why is it still pumping up? What's making it, other than the possibility of halving, which will be, I think, within
I
40
mean,
days or something?
true. I mean, halving is today the main driver. So any other risk to think of, mainly regulatory risks. Um, in the past, the Bitcoin price used to be affected a lot from statements by the Chinese central bank. So every time the PBOC does a statement, you see Bitcoin like moving. If it's a positive statement, it's going up; negative statement going down. Um, the regulatory risks today on Bitcoin are not that effective. Uh, so yeah, let's see. I can't think, to be honest, on anything negative that can happen today. FTX went bust. Spot ETFs approved. A, I mean, a major, I don't know, flow in the Bitcoin code to be suddenly discovered, or Satoshi waking up and moving his coins, or some crazy events like this need to happen for Bitcoin to go back onto those levels. Or a pure constructive manipulated action in the market where market makers can, collaborate and bring it down to 30, 40K. I don't know. All scenarios are open. What's important is that this technology is working nonstop since the first block was mined, and the monetary policy is set in code, it's set in stone, nobody can change that. And we have a test coming up on April 24, April 25, maybe April 23, and any of those Aprils. Towards the end of April, let's be more specific, we're going to see the halving event where the Bitcoin supply will be cut by 50%. And let's like remember this last Crypto Talks episode on February 2024. On the last Wednesday of February 2024, we talked about the importance of the halving and the continuous adoption from spot ETFs or Bitcoin spot ETFs in the United States, because the ETF markets are huge, because they have a lot of liquidity. We didn't see yet retirement funds come into Bitcoin. We didn't see teachers funds come into Bitcoin. We didn't see pension funds coming into Bitcoin. So the possibility of all this happening through a Bitcoin spot ETF is still there. While for the next 4 years, every 10 minutes, we're going to see just three Bitcoins, only three Bitcoins every 10 minutes, nothing more, nothing less. And we have to share it. So it's as long as nothing catastrophic happens at the infrastructure level of Bitcoin, suddenly tomorrow morning we have a quantum computer, a supercomputer that can crack the Bitcoin encryption or the encryptions used in Bitcoin signatures. So yeah, those type of events, I would say black swan, but will it happen tomorrow? I don't have the crystal ball to say that, but it's something to keep in the back of your head and always think about.
Yeah, we don't all have a crystal ball, indeed. It's funny. Um, the all-time high is coming again. This is what John says. Can CZ go to Mexico similarly? How Mexicans and others coming to the USA? Yeah, but he will
I
be a
think he can.
renegade.
Yeah, I think he can. Again, I mean, CZ wanted to show that he is an honest person. He wanted to show that he's a transparent person and that he's a man of his word. And this is how I think we all know him. Uh, Being he has his, let's say, tricks, but he was a very important uh, character as a character and as a human being, as a member of this crypto community. He's a very important catalyst for crypto to to reach the levels we are in, even at a spot ETF level. Even with FTX imploding and him being one of the let's say sticks to poke it, it's good, it's fine.
Yeah, FTX has really hurt everyone of
Yeah,
how it worked.
yeah.
So let's see. Another question is Marie Clemence says 52 days, 19 hours for the
For the
halving.
halving, yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. Elias has a question for you, Tay.
Would you buy now or still hodl? I mean,
Not a
Elias,
financial
everyone
advice.
has, yeah, everyone has, I always say everyone has his own appetite. Everyone has, you like ice cream, I don't like ice cream. We all have our own tastes. Um you're asking me personally, I hodl. I try not to sell. Of course, I have to sell sometimes to pay my rent and pay my expenses. But it doesn't mean that I should, you know, just keep it for the rest of my life. You should have a plan on when are you going to um, relieve yourself from this responsibility of holding Bitcoin for a long time. When is the time to say, okay, it's enough, I'm stepping out, or I'm one leg in, one leg out, I'm all in. Everyone has his own taste. Usually in such scenarios, when you see a crazy event happening like Bitcoin reaching 60K in matter of 7 days. Last week when we covered together, Rudy, we were at 53 and now we are at 60. So if it's a rather a big change of event. Is there something logical behind it? Yeah, besides Michael Saylor buying and BlackRock adding couple of billion into their spot ETFs? I would say no. So I would be careful in having the FOMO and feeling, hey, I'm gonna miss out on this. And I look at what happened before in previous halvings. That's why Bitcoin is interesting. Because Rudy, in the previous halvings, the data is there, the data is available. The data is public. The data is immutable. Nobody has changed it. Nobody has added a zero, removed a one, misplaced a number or a comma. All the data from 2009 until today, until this second, is there, transaction by transaction. So when is the halving? We know when is the halving. We look a few months before the halving, what happened every cycle, and look after what happened in every cycle. Let's make this an exercise for everyone. And then next week we meet and we share our findings and we share, okay, what did we find out?
Yeah, yeah, indeed. C'est la vie. Don't forget to follow Tey and follow Dxtalks on all social media. With that, there's no further question. I'd like to wish you a great week and see you soon. Everybody is in Qatar today. It was a big success, Web Summit. Next week is Leap, Saudi Arabia. So it's a busy time before Ramadan, and then after Ramadan, the first 2 weeks after Ramadan is gonna be booming again with Blockchain Live, Token 4209, if I'm not mistaken, and the many other events that we are involved in. So with that, I'd like to see you. We'll talk later. Don't keep them coming. Press like and share, and see you next week.